Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got into this situation. Well, Luce is a jerk and he put a dark unit against a Savior Adin. But in all seriousness, so yeah, this is a... it's not really a super difficult situation to go into. Like, hey, what's the actual threat here? You're basically fighting 2 support units and 1 DPS. So, I wanted to try this and also kind of just like test the waters and see like how much tankiness you really need to have on your dark baits against a Savior Adin. So yeah, some of this was a test, but I am also hiding my own insecurities. But I'll give you guys a quick spoiler alert here. It took me a staggering 4.5 minutes to even realize that that Arowell is rocking Monarch? I forget the actual name of it. It'll pop up here in a second, and then I'll see it. But it's Cecilia's artifact that basically turns her into Fallen Cecilia. And because it takes me so long... Okay, Rise of a Monarch. It takes me so long to actually figure out that that is even there, that it basically completely... It makes this whole fight drag for almost no reason. And also, this Savior Adin is rocking Shepherds of the Hollow, and I really don't understand why so many people are using Shepherds of a Hollow on Savior Adin, because a lot of the times you don't really go into Savior Adin with the whole purpose of, oh, I'm going to drag the match out. I drag the match out here, but you normally don't do that. Like, you would go into this with probably like a Zahhak or something and just some kind of revive prevention, or you could just straight up use what's her name? Goth bitch. Sadasaria, whatever. I actually am totally blanking on her name right now. But yeah, you can use her against like Savior Adin kind of comps because she'll pretty much guaranteed to hit it. She does a lot of extra damage. The additional damage also is she's really weak to. But there is one very important thing to definitely keep in mind whenever you're fighting stuff like Unbound Knight Arowell. You should definitely not do what I did and completely ignore her a lot of the time. Because also, surprise, surprise, this Unbound Knight Arowell is actually not running any, like, ER either. Like, yeah, for real. It takes me 4 or so minutes to even, like, start devising a different strategy. Because I think it's, like, 4 minutes in, I realize, oh, crap, I can't like, one-tap the Destina. So, like, naturally, all you really have to do is just spread out your damage, and you'll be fine. Because if you spread it out, you'll like go for the Unbound Knight Arowell, you'll eventually kill it. You can then also spread the damage out into Destina. I'm also rocking Alencia. Alencia is there, who is the absolute queen of injury. The only unit that in the entire game that can actually beat her in terms of injury is Belian. But we don't talk about Belian. Belian's a broken bitch. Fuck Belian. Delete Belian from the game. But... But anyway, the overall strategy that I'm really trying to go for here is, okay, I'm going to weaken the Destina, get the HP as low as possible, and then eventually just try to, like, kill the Arowell as well. And of course, like I said, 4 minutes in, that's when I eventually figure out, oh, I should just kill the Arowell. And it completely fixes everything that was a problem in the fight. And also, like I said before, I was doing some damage testing against Pyllis, because normally you really should almost never bring a dark unit into a Savior Adin, because she just does so much more damage to them. And I made the judgment call, because there's no way a Arowell without attack buff is going to just straight up one-tap one of my tanks. But I'm pretty positive that if she did have attack buff, she might actually be able to kill her. So the overall strategy was to just kind of like spread all the damage around, take, you know, look at the overall bar, keep an eye on what the cooldowns were, and then I would use attacks into Adin for the sake of healing on Roana. Like, a whole bunch of this is just like long con kind of bullshit. And like I said, okay, so we're about to get into like 4 minutes and 30 seconds here. So this is right around now I start to realize, okay, wait, that's Rise of a Monarch. And then I just randomly go into Arowell, get a death break right off the jump. Which then tells me, it's like, wow, I should have just done this. And lo and behold, Unbound Knight Arowell's gone. She's now lost all of her damage mitigation and damage sharing. And because of that, next turn I get, Savior Adin is dead. Case in point, I think on the very next turn Pyllis gets, I just straight up one-tap her. So I also go for like the S3 here. Hey, just a little bit more extra damage. That's going to go on Save Your Aid, and it's also going to keep doing some more to Destina. And I think right here... Yeah, right here. Because the S3 also has hit rate on it, so she's not going to dodge this. So she just straight up gets hit by it and takes like 8k damage. She's dead. I mean, maybe the crit mattered, but honestly, hey, whatever. I'll take it. And with that, we just lengthened a match that could have possibly been over in maybe 30 or so turns. We ended that in like 60. Woo! We're really good at the game, boys. So, this is one of my very, very typical kind of matchups that I usually like to do. Anytime I see Conqueror Lilias, I usually like to run Sinji into that. Sinji and Zahhak specifically. And the reason why I do that is because I have so much ER on Sinji. Sinji is absolutely not going to get touched. And I'm going to buff with Sinji. And if she happens to hit my Zahhak with any of those debuffs, I can also cleanse it and put the attack buff back on him. And I solely have him there just because Violet's there. Wow. Such strategy. Such wow. I'm good at video games. And because Violet's gone, the match is already over. Because all Conqueror Lilias is going to do, she's just going to go into Sinji, do absolutely nothing, and the Ravi's only going to go into Sylvan Sage, and because like we're not dealing with Rimuru mechanics or anything like that, where there's going to be a death break, what do I care? You're going to do nothing. In fact, I don't even soul burn like I normally do. I guess I was just totally out of it whenever I was doing this. I just straight up didn't care. And with that being said, that's the end of this match. We just ain't quite there yet. But hey, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. My week's pretty rough, but we're not here to talk about that. So, next matchup, we're going up against Yulha. I usually don't see Yulha very often, but I mean, hey, she's an HP scaling unit, as well as Belian over there. And they have a very, very, very distinct weakness. That weakness being injury. Who's one of the best units in the game for injury? Well, that would be Alencia herself. Now, we're going to play a little game here. Hey, is the Belian on injury? So that's why we're kind of like, we're feeling her out. We didn't get a death break there, but hey, we also, honestly, we didn't need it. So, like, she's already ludicrously weak there. And... ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding! That is injury. And that is a second hit of injury, because fuck this game. And hey, anybody hear a third hit of injury? That's a third hit of injury! Woo! I'm having so much fun. So yeah, in all honesty, that's probably the worst possible thing that could happen. You never, ever, ever want to see that happen anytime you're fighting Belian. But hey, we're still in good shape. She's like ludicrously low on health. She's injured. I just have to hit her one more time and she's dead. So yeah, there we go. So threat number 1 is down. Now threat number 2 is you just have to really play this. It's really not hard. Like spread the damage up. Don't get Yulha too low, and then just injure her a good bit, and you'll be good as gold. Now. You shouldn't go about this like you were fighting, say, like an Ravi or something, because even if you do injure a Yulha, she can still do damage, unlike a Ravi. If a Ravi's injured, a Ravi's just straight up crippled. But if Yulha is injured, she can still do some decent damage, because so many people like have like absolutely insane HP stats on their Yulhas. Like, next turn I come up, I'll see what she's currently at right now. So yeah, she's at 20k, and that's with some injury, so she was probably like 25 or so, if I were to take a guess. I mean, hey, I'm a really good player of this game, honestly, paying attention to very important factors. But, yeah, this is the general strategy you're doing. Hey, get her to 50% injury, and then get her low, and then work on Conqueror Lilias at the same time. Now, we have a Dark Bait for Conqueror Lilias, so we really don't have anything to worry about in that respect. So, yeah, everything's fine. But then there's one thing in particular that a lot of people, myself included, tend to forget about Yulha, and that's when she gets low enough on her HP, she will cleanse herself, and then she'll also give herself CR boost, so she will hit you with an S3. That is something that you absolutely need to make sure you remember. I think it happens right here because I get a death break. Nope, next turn, actually. So the next time I hit her, she's going to cleanse herself and then push herself up. I attempted to see if I could go in and kill right here. I wasn't expecting there was going to be Holy Sack. Holy Sack doesn't happen yet, but that's basically what this person was going for. They were just going for, like, oh, I'm annoying, and I'm going to, like, kill or whatever. Because I guess the Belian was probably rocking Elbrus and was also on injury, so this whole team was just kind of, like, gonna be annoying. You could have fought this with, like, some form of tank killing, but I guess the tank killing, the Holy Sack was there to counter the tank killing, so that's why I decided to go for injury. Injury just feels like it's a very safe option to go into any HP scaling bruisers, and generally, it is. So, I wasn't paying attention. Did she already use her S3 yet? I believe she already did. So I think she did, like, what, 7k or something to Alencia? And yeah, that's something that you shouldn't really scoff at or just, like, completely ignore. Which, yeah, that's kind of important to remember. But honestly, that was also why Roana was there. I was in complete control of the entire match. I had revival mechanics ready and willing. And yeah, we were good to go. So the funny thing about this fight is I could have sworn in the last GuildWar fight, I was actually talking about Dominiel, and lo and behold, who are we fighting? We're fighting Dominiel. Definitely wasn't expecting that. So, what I was talking about before with Dominiel is her kit is really, really, really bad. They SG recently changed it, so this right here happens. That is on a 35% proc chance on if you crit. That is fucking stupid. Like, that just straight up shouldn't be a thing. It should just be, like, based on hits. It shouldn't be based on, like, if you land a crit or not. Which also, it kind of makes me question this guy's, like, actual comp that he was using, because, like, Senya's there, and Carrot's there. There's not really any kind of, like, buffing that's going on here. It's just kind of damage. So this really, like, makes Edward kind of like a super unit to use into this, because any and all debuffs that are going to hit into him, I'll just counter it with any and all of, like, his S2, and he just straight up, like, farms the team. You'll see Edward just go absolutely in and destroy this team. And Momo's only there for, like, extra heals, because anytime Arowell can just kind of, like, get heals from, like, any unit, and it's especially any heals from a unit that heals based off of the HP of the unit, oh, yo, fucking free. So, like, yeah, right there, Ed's just going in. Ed's just doing work. And even Carrot, like, God, you guys remember when Carrot was, like, one of the most annoying units that we ever had to fight, just because of, like, the burn damage? But yeah, now that we have all of this, like, crazy anti-debuff shenanigans, like, you really just don't need to worry about Jack. And fun, LOL. So that is 2 times that procced. I think it has a ludicrously high cooldown timing for it, too. Just, Dominiel is just bad. And it's really a shame, too, because I like her character design, I like the character herself, but yeah, just, the kit's just bad. It could really use an update or something, or, oh, I don't know, maybe be the kit that she had before the most recent change to her, where they turned her S2 into a passive. I don't know, might be a good idea. But, yeah, that's this fight. Just Edward doing Edward things. And, sadly, that is all she wrote. Now, we go in with Pyllis and Alencia one more time. And the big thing here that we were going to do is... So, yeah, we're fighting Yulha again. And this time, I believe Yulha is on Aureus. And so, okay, we have basically 2 threats here that are immediately crippled by injury. That's a Ravi, and that's going to be Yulha. And then we have 1 damage dealer at the top, with which is Sylvan Sage Vivian. Either way you look at it, this team is utterly crippled by debuffs or injury itself. So you can really just kind of go about this any way you wish. I think I go for a Ravi first, so that Doris doesn't take as much damage, and then as soon as a Ravi is down to about 50% in injury, I just switch over to Yulha, and I have nothing to worry about. because I believe in the last fight I was testing, oh, how much damage does Yulha really do when she's at max injury? And it's like around 7k. And I believe I see the same thing occur here. But of course, like, my health is so high and I have almost nothing to worry about. I just kind of don't care. And, yeah, Sylvan Sage is just going in, trying to do damage to Pyllis, but, like, I have so much defense, I have so much, like, not care ability on Pyllis, I just really don't care anything that I'm fighting, and this is also Proof of Valor a Ravi, so we're not dealing with Crimson Seed. Oh, thank God we don't have that Crimson Seed nerf yet, guys. It's just so powerful. It's so strong, in fact, that, like, nobody actually really uses Crimson Seed. Except for, like, myself. But, anyway. Yeah, so this is the general strategy. I'm still kind of, like, going into a Ravi. I was kind of trying to see if I could kill her before I start working on Yulha. And it was then around now that my monkey brain's starting to notice, oh, wait, that Yulha is actually on Aureus. So because of that, I think, yeah, at this point, I start going into Yulha because her health is getting pretty low. So I need to go ahead and reduce that max HP pool with the injury. And man, look at that fucking red bar. That was one attack from from Alencia. Feels good, doesn't it? And then right there, I just, yeah, she's at 15k. I think one more good hit, which I wasn't expecting that attack right there. But hey, so she has maximum 15k HP. Let's see how much this does. I think it does, okay, 12k. So, still good. Could have, in any kind of bad situation, probably would have killed my Pyllis, but I think I would have still been fine. But yeah, that's pretty much what you're dealing with here. Hey, injury, mad good set. It's really stupid. I still, honest to God, can't believe that there's no counter to injury. It kind of baffles me that there's still no counter to injury. I guess it's just bad, guys. It's not like a speed set, so thus we don't need answers to it. Injury's just bad. Whatevs. But yeah, Yulha's dead. No real threat there. Ravi's dead. Okay, we're good. And now all that's left is Sylvan Sage. And she really has no hope of winning at this point, because she has to go through Pyllis. That's not going to happen. And we're also rocking Rocket Punch. So we're just doing so much extra damage that, like, what do I care? And also another thing I feel like with Sylvan Sage, I don't know what they could possibly do to really buff her, but it kind of feels like she takes too long to reset her S3, because her S3, believe it or not, is actually on a ramp-up mechanic. You really wouldn't think it was, because of, like, how slow it is to get. But yeah, the S3 is on a ramp-up mechanic, kind of like, you know, Landy's is. But the reason why Landy was such a threat was because Landy could just, like, spam her S3. That's why Landy was scary, and you had to have answers for Landy. Meanwhile, Sylvan Sage, you never see her on defense, ever, because she's not really scary like, say, Landy is. So here, the good old AI picks quite possibly the worst unit to hit on their very first hit, and that would be Edward. And even though it hit Edward, doesn't matter. Hey, I see that you have hit debuff on you. I'm just going to hit you anyway. Oh, that's cool. But either way, my Unbound Knight Arowell is not just like an HP monster. I actually have a lot of effect resist, and I have a lot of defense and a lot of HP on my Unbound Knight Arowell. Highly recommend you build her for that purpose, guys. Like, it's super, super good. You have a lot of bulk, you take all the damage for your units, and if you have a good means of recovery to go with Unbound Knight Arowell, you can really kind of do stuff like this where you run 2 supports and 1 DPS, and your 1 DPS will do literally all the work. Kind of like what we're doing right now. So the other cool thing about Edward is that is an additional attack. The additional attack hit Edward. Edward's still countered. That's normally not a thing. Normally, you can never counter with additional attacks. Like, if that was, like, any other unit doing an additional attack into a unit, they normally don't ever counter that, which was considered a safe option for Solitaria. That's why she was, like, a really, really good counter to Violet, because she would use her S1, and it would still hit him, but he wouldn't proc his counter by dodging it. So, honestly, that kind of feels a little OP, that Edward can just not give a shit and just stand there, take the S1 and S2, and the S1 and the S1 follow-up from Solitaria, and just keep going. Now, if I was smart, I would not have healed on Momo for that turn, because Edward was actually at the lowest health, so he would have kept getting the hits. But you know what? We're not here to flex for the sake of like being good at the game. We're just here commenting because you guys seem to like it for some reason. But yeah, that's generally the strategy that we're doing here. Edward is just being hyper-based, and I quite honestly hope a lot of you are not still somehow thinking that Edward is bad. He ain't. Not in the slightest. And with that said, yeah, this is pretty much it. I think this kills it. Yep, that's it. So yeah, that was this Guild War in a shell nut. Basically, a whole bunch of injury and anti-debuff shenanigans. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this Guild War. I don't really have much more to really talk about. I don't know, I guess, who's hyped for ML Bologna, I guess? I mean, I'm not really that excited. I mean, she's going to be good. How could you possibly fuck up a unit that doesn't need crit in any way, shape, or form on her kit and is basically a bruiser? Oh, wait, I know how. They'll just give her really, really bad multipliers. I hope that is not going to happen. But, I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope in... I have a lot of hope in... happy times for SG in the coming future. But hey, could be anything. She's probably going to be good. She's a dark unit, so you would probably be able to use her into a lot of different things. We don't really fight a lot of oppressive light stuff, except for... Oh shit! There's Savior Adin. So, I don't know. We'll see how all that works out. Hopefully she doesn't get one-tapped by Savior Adin. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it all works out. I'm sure it'll be fine. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this Guild War. If you have anything to say, please leave me a comment. I do read all the comments. If you like this content, please hit a like. If you want to see more of this content, please go ahead and subscribe to my videos. I hope to see you sometime in the future. Later.